Hello and welcome to another episode of the Uncommon Energy Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the brand new Pokemon trading card game Pocket Set and then also the recent launch of trading within TCG Pocket. Now, don't worry, people. Those of you who dislike Pokemon Pocket, we're only going to talk about it for a little bit, and then we're going to get right back into regular competitive Pokemon TCG action with City League Watch. We're going to take a look at now that the new Journey Together set has been out for a bit longer over in Japan, see what is succeeding over there in their City League level tournaments. We are, of course, going to have Guess That Flavor Text, and then we're going to talk about the Merida Regional Championships coming up this weekend. Azul is going and competing in the tournament. So maybe talk about some of his perspectives as a competitor heading into this event. And then, of course, we will have our exclusive bonus episode for our YouTube members and Spotify subscribers. My name is Tripper Tree, and joined here, as always, by my friend and co-host, Azul GG. What's up, Azul? How we doing, buddy? How's your week been? Well, I normally ask you how your week has been, but I don't
Yeah.
know how most of your week was because you were here for most of it.
Yeah, so anyone who doesn't know, I think we mentioned on the podcast last week, I was over at Chips to film some more content for the secondary Uncommon Energy channel. If you haven't checked that out already, then go ahead and check that out. Got some videos made, so that was fun. Yeah, so me and Chip were hanging out, recording some content. Things have been going really well on the secondary channel. I'm just trying to keep that flow moving. So yeah, that was basically most of my week. I don't remember if I streamed at all. I think I streamed a day or 2 before I don't even remember what my weeks have been like, to be honest. I did a little bit of streaming. I've been, like, getting my room situated. I also got, like I was gonna stream today, um, but the carpet came, and then I had to meal prep, do laundry, all that kinda stuff between yesterday and today, so I didn't end up streaming today, but I'm gonna stream the next couple days, pick a deck, play some games with it before, Merida this weekend. I leave on Friday, so I'm gonna stream Wednesday, Thursday, the next 2 days. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. I would say, "What about you, Chip?" I was about to say, "What about you?" But we were doing the same things. I
Yeah.
don't know if you have too much to say about your week.
Not really. Yeah. We hung out. We recorded a bunch of content. We went to a couple local tournaments on Saturday and Sunday to film updates to the. We filmed a video a few weeks ago where Azul took the league battle deck and went to a local tournament with it, and we filmed a second and third part to that video, which will be coming out in the next couple months. So shout outs to those local stores that allowed us to come out and film: Atomic Empire in Durham, and then East Coast Gaming in Cary, North Carolina, for letting us come out and film. And yeah, I got to meet a bunch of people as well. A lot of people were pretty excited to have you in the area playing. I think a lot of people were pretty surprised to see you playing in a league cup of all things. And yeah, what was your experience like? Because you played, there was what, the first league challenge and league cup that you played in probably what, 5 years, 6 years?
It's been a while. I can't now I'm trying to, like, put it together. I played, like, one local tournament, I think, when I first moved to California, I wanna say. Um, but besides that, the last time I played a couple of challenges when I lived in, uh, Indiana. Not quite 5 or 6 years. Well, I guess there was COVID, right? So maybe it has been, like, around 5 years
Yeah,
probably.
what
Maybe
year did you move out to California? Like 2020, right?
I don't remember. Some year. And then there was COVID going on for, like, a year-ish before I moved out. I moved, like, during COVID, basically, so, yeah, I don't remember, to be honest. It's been a little while, though. It's definitely been a little while. It was definitely enjoyed the experience. It was definitely fun, and doing it for, like, the content also made it, I guess, like, I wanna say more enjoyable or less enjoyable. I don't know. It's just like, it was like I
It's
just
what
enjoy
it's
playing
what
Pokemon
got
in
you in the
general.
door, you know? It's what got you back out to a local tournament. You probably wouldn't have
Yeah.
gone if it wasn't for content purposes.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wouldn't go to a cover challenge if it wasn't for content purposes. But even if I like, yeah, ending up at a cover challenge, I enjoyed doing it still, for sure. Like I still enjoyed playing just playing Pokemon in general. So yeah, it was fun. Had a good time playing at the locals.
Well, those videos will be coming out in the next couple of months. It'll probably be a little bit of time. We've actually got quite a big backlog of videos built up, which is a good thing because I mean that's basically how we have to do it, right? Because you live on the other side of the country and we got to film a bunch of stuff like in trips whenever you come out here. So we've
Yeah.
got a pretty solid backlog. So those videos that are updates to the Charizard League Battle Deck will come out hopefully by the end of March. Both of those will be out since yeah, we definitely want to push those both out because rotation is around the corner and we need it to be at least semi-relevant still before rotation happens.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely trying to get them out in time.
But yeah, other than that, I think that's about it. We can just go ahead and hop into our first topic unless you got something else you want to say.
Oh, let's get into it.
And yeah, we are going to kick off this week talking about TCG Pockets, every TCG player's favorite mobile game. And there was a brand new set that came out in the game that has definitely had an impact. There's been some pretty big tournaments, and we were going to use this time to talk about just kind of the state of Pocket in general, like our thoughts on if it should join the competitive circuit, because that's something that's been a big discussion point for a lot of people. Um, and then also like kind of what the grassroots scene has begun to look like. And then also we're going to talk about the trading thing that, has happened in the last couple of weeks. So, um, yeah, starting off, I mean, I think that it seems like of the newest set, Space Time Smackdown, the biggest deck has become this Darkrai Magnezone deck, which doesn't seem like something that would synergize super well together. But once you kind of understand the game mechanics, it's not too surprising. Have you seen this yet, Azul?
Yeah, I've seen the Darkrai. I didn't realize Darkrai Magnezone was one of the popular ways that. What does the Magnezone even do? This Magnezone's from an older set, I believe, as
No,
well,
no,
right?
no. Magnezone is from this set.
Oh, okay.
The Magnezone has the attack Thunder Blast for a lightning and two colorless, 110, discard a lightning energy from this Pokemon. But the reason that, so this is a super interesting mechanic, right? It's just like how the game works, right? So people play this deck with just Darkrai EX as kind of the main attacker. When you attach a darkness energy from your energy zone to this Pokemon, do 20 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So a nice little buildup of damage. 80 for 3 is kind of the standard damage output, it feels like in the game. Plus, you get
Yeah.
that extra stacked damage from the ability. Um, so this deck plays 0 lightning energy for their energy zone. Like, so you can only attach darkness energy from your hand, but Magneton's Volt Charge ability will still generate lightning energy, even if you don't play any lightning energy in your deck. So you get the Magneton in play, load lightning energy up onto it, attach to Magnezone, and then it's a 140 HP attacker that kind of powers itself up.
Oh, okay, interesting. I honestly like as you were talking through this, I was still trying to piece it together, and I was like, wait, the only thing is that it would like eventually be able to attack, but that is it. Like, yeah, it's just like a good attacker, and it's like Darkrai is so sufficient efficient by itself as a basic. It has so much room to include something else. You might as well get the Magneton involved. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I was lost for like a little while, just like looking at all the cards. For a second, I was like, oh wait, if yeah, there's a couple cards I went through in my head. I was like, "But those don't even work." I was thinking, "Does Lieutenant Surges?" I forget what what Lieutenant Surges did. Does it move off Magneton and then it can move to the active and then you deal more damage with the Darkrai's ability? No, but it's literally just, "Hey, what's the best Pokemon to put with Darkrai?" And it's just like, "Well, the Magneton sets itself up. All right, that's pretty cool. Put the Magnezone in there." So that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, I saw the dark when I read the Darkrai, I was like, "Oh, this seems good." I haven't like played with any of the new set. I'm still like opening my packs, like doing my dailies, whatever, accumulating cards. I haven't played at all. Well, I read the Darkrai. I saw the Darkrai get revealed on Twitter last week, I think, or
Yeah,
maybe not
yeah.
even revealed. Maybe we didn't see it until it got pulled. But I was like, "Oh, this card seems pretty good." So I'm not surprised to see it be successful. I guess I just kind of assumed Weavile would be the best way to play it, but looks like Magnezone is the way to go.
I think this Lucario is probably one of the better cards from the set as well, just for the long term of the game. Maybe not right now, and it does feel like people are like playing it with stuff right now. Obviously, this is a build someone did well with that plays Rampardos, but you have to play the fossil, of course, to get into Rampardos. But Lucario's fighting coach ability attacks used by your fighting Pokemon do plus 20 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, and it does stack.
Yeah, yeah, that one's pretty cool too. What does the Rampardos even do? This is also a new card.
Yeah, 130 for 1 energy. And if your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this attack, it does 50 damage to itself.
That's That just seems kinda good. I don't think you care.
Yeah, it is a stage 2, and you have to
Yeah.
get the fossil in play first, so that's kind of the downside here.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I actually have not been playing much of the game either, so I've not really been super paying attention to it. I've just seen some of this. But people are still paying attention, right? I mean, there's still how many people played in this tournament, this Ursa Day tournament? 1,700 or something like
Yeah,
that, I
it's like
want
a
to say.
ridiculous amount.
Yeah, like a crazy amount of people. And that was one of the things we wanted to talk about here was just kind of the state of competitive Pocket here. Ursa Day put out this graphic, said the growth of Pokemon Pocket's grassroots competitive scene has been astounding. Together, we've proved this game has legs, sharing that 22,000 unique players on limitlesstcg.com, which is more users than every other game on the platform combined. Every other TCG
Jeez.
player, every other VG player, Digimon, One Piece, whatever else they've hosted on there, more Pocket players than everything else combined. Ursa Day's been averaging 1,800 players in her tournaments a week, which is obscene. 6,000 people watched the Hooglandia and Spraggles Open, which I suppose was a grassroots tournament. I actually didn't know that this happened, but 6,000 viewers. I mean, that's a lot of people watching
Yeah.
competitive Pocket. For especially for grassroots level, like we've said, and then high performing players make top cut in up to 30% of the tournaments they participate in.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are actually, like, pretty big numbers. I actually saw this tweeted out, but I didn't read all the breakdowns for them. Um, it does make you wonder now I'm, like, kinda curious. I wonder how many people they could get to show up to play Pocket at, like, a regional, like, uncapped. How
Yeah.
many players do you think they could eventually get? The numbers could get pretty big. I feel like a lot of what Pocket would wanna do, though, if they do ever have, like, some kind of official support, would probably be on phone tournaments, like qualifiers, and then maybe there's bigger tournaments at ICs, like invitational onlys at ICs and Worlds. Kind of what like what Unite does, right? That's like how Unite's circuit operates. Unite isn't at every regional championship. I think this is the first year that they've been at LAIC,
Yeah.
but in the past they've been at UIC and NAIC, and I imagine they will still be at those this year through like an invitational type thing where you play the online tournament qualifiers or whatever. And same thing for like getting to Worlds. I imagine Pocket would go a similar route if there ever is any official competition. And honestly, I really don't see a reason to not have some kind of official competition for the game. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't eventually do something. And I think it actually like there's like and if they don't, there is like room because I know like Ursa Days has the most popular weekly tournament. It sounds like this the Hooglandia and Spraggles Open was probably more players than what Ursa Day averages. But of course that's not like a weekly thing. There would be like room for someone to like try and create, I don't know, between like Ursa Day and Spraggles and Hoogland, like if they could come together and make like kind of like an official, unofficial tournament circuit, I think there would be like a lot of interest in something like that. Because like the weeklies are cool and all, but having some kind of like quarterly invitational to build up towards, or and I looked at like one of Ursa Day's tournament. It doesn't look like the weeklies build into any kind of invitational from what I can see. Kind of like we have with like the late night tournaments and stuff like that,
Yeah.
where it like leads into an invitational. But you could have like an official, unofficial world championships for Pocket. I don't see any reason that they couldn't step up and do that, and pretty easily do it as well. I feel like because like Limitless makes things so simple to like make to do like earning points for placement into like some kind of invitational, into some kind of worlds qualifier or something like that. So yeah, I think it's just kind of like if they want to step up and do it, and it wouldn't even require much more effort than I think what Ursa Day's already putting in with like the weekly tournament. So yeah, if official support doesn't seem like it's ever going to come, I think there'd be a lot of interest in some kind of official, unofficial world championships in Pocket. I think they'd get a lot of it, players for that. I would maybe even consider trying to qualify myself, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that it would make a lot of sense for there to be some sort of official sanctioned play with Pocket. I think it's pretty obvious from the last few months of release that the gameplay of the game is a little bit less of a focus compared to the collecting aspect, it feels like.
Right.
And any sort of competitive play is very much an afterthought, it feels like. The little events they've run are fine, but there's nothing special. They don't even really incentivize you to play the game regularly. The daily challenges relate to opening packs.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, there's
Wonder picks.
no benefit for playing a game every single day. Um,
I was kinda waiting for an official I thought that was the word, that there was gonna be an official ranked ladder eventually, and that's when I was planning to try and dive into it a little bit more because just playing, like, random quick play matches or whatever you wanna call it, just, like, playing, like, on the whatever system is it's pretty bad. Like, it's, like, not very what am I looking for? Like, intriguing or not
Yeah,
captivating, like, it's just
enticing.
yeah, like, the level of play you get is, like, pretty poor, and that's with me, like, making mistakes myself, like, the level of decks and the level of play that you kind of run into on average is just, like it doesn't really make me wanna, like, continue to play the game because it's like, "Well, my opponent threw again." I guess, like, I'm not really learning anything about, like, how do I have like, what do I have to do? Like, put me in harder situations to try and figure out what I have to do, and so playing in the online tournaments is the only way to do that, um but of course, that requires you to be at that specific time that whenever they're happening. And like the Ursa Day tournaments are actually something I've considered trying to play in weekly, but just been
You should
busy
try to
lately.
multi-tournament one week. That would be kinda sick.
I don't know if I can make that work. That'd be too
Why
difficult to
not?
do probably. I'll just like be literally playing both at the same time
Yeah.
on my
Surely there would
screen. I'll just have
be
both up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be actually so sick.
I don't know about that.
You could do it. I believe in you.
Sounds like a headache.
But yeah, I would like to see them do something eventually. I have a feeling like it's probably not going to be super soon if something happens. Just like comparing it to Pokemon Go, right? A very similar thing. The actual playing of the game very much not the focus at the start of the game's launch, but eventually has become, a huge dedicated community of Pokemon Go. Um, and it's like a part of the official circuit. So I imagine it would be something that is like a very much a future thing.
How do people run Pokemon Go tournaments? 'Cause that's actually I just like made that realization right now. There's no Pokemon Go isn't supported on Limitless on the tournament site.
I don't actually know what the grassroots Go scene looks like, to be honest.
Or do they have like enough official stuff online that there's really is no need
They
for
have a ranked ladder.
okay. And did you get like can you like qualify for worlds through the ladder or bigger tournaments?
No.
Well, regionals are open ended, right? Like I
Yeah,
mean,
and
or
that
open
their
invitational.
their ladder is also a different format than the official tournaments. So
Oh, what
official
the heck?
Go tournaments, you bring 6 Pokemon, to the event. Like, you have a team of 6 and you choose 3 per battle, and you can change in a best of 3 or best of 5. But
Hmm.
on their ranked ladder, you just bring 3, and that's your 3, and you play best of 1, bring those 3.
Okay.
So it's
I
a
mean, I guess that's
slightly
like
different format.
yeah, yeah. Well, I guess you're going in blind every time, right?
Right.
So you're gonna pick like a more neutral comp. You'll maybe bring those same 3 Pokemon to a regional, but then you'll have like
Yeah.
situational support Pokemon. That does make it less interesting though to play on ranked ladder, if it's especially if it's best of one. Playing like a best out of 3 with 6 would definitely be a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I never really realized that until you just brought up Pokemon Go right now, and I was like, wait, do they have that on Limitless? But yeah, I guess they don't. And now I'm kind of curious. Like, do they run? Anyone I guess who's listening to this, if they could educate us in the comment section, is there Pokemon Go tournaments that are ran? I don't even what sites run. What is it? What are some of the sites that we used to like? Smash GG was that one of them?
Yeah, yeah, Smash GG. What was the one
I don't
didn't
remember
I
the name of the other one, but I've like played like a League of Legends tournament and like Hearthstone tournaments on it before.
yeah, Limitless has definitely just become the de facto place to play trading card games and really VG it feels like as well online, which is pretty cool to see how it's like grown like that.
I guess also Unite as
It
well. I
is
guess
such
there's
a good
that.
platform, the
But
Play
Unite has like
Limitless
a
platform.
yeah, definitely. I was gonna say also Unite's not on here either, but I guess Unite has a pretty good. I bet Unite has other tournaments that are ran on those sites, somewhat regularly. But yeah, they have a good ranked ladder though on Unite as well. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that that is enough for most players most of the time. I assume.
Let's also move on and talk about the trading that came to TCG Pocket recently. So it was released and said to be something that was coming soon to the game, like ever since the game launched.
Yeah.
And then finally, with this new set's release, or I guess right before this new set's release, they brought out trading. And this is a graph, which is just a screenshot from Outcast's Discord server talking about the trade tokens. So, like, we always knew there would be some currency required to trade. I think everyone thought it was going to be shine dust, which is what you use to flare your cards in the game currently. But it's a different type of currency, a new currency, trade tokens. And to trade a 3 diamond card, you need 120 trade tokens. 4 diamond cards, you need 500. And for 1 star, which is EXs, you need 400. Um, and for so basically, what this equates to is to trade one EX, you have to sacrifice 4 other EXs.
Yeah.
So you have
What
to
is
dust
the
dust away, and you can't dust away cards unless you already have 2 of them.
what is a three diamond?
Like a
Is that a
like a
hollow?
hollow, a hollow. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so like a commons and uncommons you can't even dust, basically.
Actually, I'm not sure. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah. I mean, I don't I'm not too surprised that they were gonna be reasonably restrictive with it because even like uh the actual like dust you get there where you can craft anything, the pack points, like that's you don't get that many pack points.
Yeah.
Because they want you to like mainly acquire cards through opening packs. I'm not surprised that they heavily restricted you because yeah, if it was like really easy to do, it'd be pretty easy for you could basically just have like a group of friends or just find a group of people who play Pokemon Pocket and you could all basically you get 10 people together and you basically make it so everyone can have everything with just through trades, right?
Yeah. And so
Um,
I think they're trying to limit 2 things here. I mean, that is one thing. I think that would be an okay outcome because it requires you to network with a group of friends, right? And that's like what trading card games and stuff is about, right?
yeah.
So I don't think that would be a terrible outcome, what you just outlined. But I think the 2 big things they're trying to prevent are multi-accounting,
Mm,
people just using multiple free to play accounts to build one massive, stacked account, right?
yeah.
And also the sale of cards. That's one thing I think they're definitely trying to limit as much as possible.
Wait, so do you both like well, I don't even know how trades work. Do you have to trade like an EX for an EX?
Yes.
Okay, so you have to trade equal rarity for equal rarity, and
Yes.
then you both have to lose
You have to
400.
you have to cash in. You can get tokens by cashing in any of these rarity cards.
Yeah.
Um,
But like,
but you need that many tokens in order to trade.
you both pay 400 tokens, and then it has
Yes.
to be an EX for an EX. Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. Yeah. I mean, you could still I don't know, I have, like, a lot of bad EXs. I feel like I would still have I feel like I probably have a decent amount of trade currency.
But you've spent a couple $100 on the game.
I have up to this point, yeah.
There's a lot of people who are free to play. If anyone who's free to play, I think it's like pretty impossible to trade and even like more than one EX probably. And then also you can't trade
Yeah.
anything of a higher rarity than an EX. You can't trade any full art cards, you can't trade any of the crown rares or the immersive 3-star rares.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I guess, what was I gonna say? And I don't think I was gonna go with as well. Remember what I was gonna say.
Well,
Let me
all
look.
this ultimately, like, people have been pretty unhappy with it so
Oh, I was gonna say a
far.
lot of people are trying to, like, collect full sets as well, so they don't wanna get rid of oh, I guess you have to yeah, you have to have 2 before you can even
Exactly.
get rid of 1. Yeah, 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 so it's already gonna be pretty tough to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that make oh, wait, does that even account for higher rarities? Like, you can't if you have 2 Starmie EX, you can't dust your full art Starmie, right? I
Right.
assume not. Okay,
Right.
yeah. So, actually, it's just pretty tough to just get cards you could dust anyways, actually, to be honest.
And this led to Pokemon Pocket actually releasing a statement about the topic. They said, since releasing the first iteration of the trading feature a few days ago, we've received a large number of comments. Thank you all for sharing your feedback. The item requirement and restrictions implemented for the trading feature were designed to prevent abuse from bots and other prohibited actions using multiple accounts. Our goal was to balance the game while maintaining a fair environment for all players and preserving the fun of collecting cards that is core to the Pokemon TCG Pocket experience. However, thanks to your feedback, we understand that some of the restrictions put in place are preventing players from being able to casually enjoy the feature as intended. We are actively investigating ways to improve the feature and to address these concerns. Going forward, we also plan to offer multiple ways to obtain trade tokens, including through event distributions. As always, thank you for being a part of the Pokemon TCG Pocket community.
Makes sense. Yeah, and they even mentioned like a different reason as well, right? Bots. They don't want people botting. Um,
Yeah.
oh,
Spam
that was
opening
actually
accounts, spam opening packs across hundreds of accounts.
I don't know why that made me think of this, but I was actually I don't think I showed this to you, but it was like it wasn't a meme. Someone made a posting on uh eBay for prismatic evolutions ETBs, and the listing for the item was this is just funny, so that's why I'm bringing it up. It's not too related. The listing was like um prismatic evolutions ETB picture, and
Oh
then
yeah.
in parentheses read description, and then in the description it said, "Do not buy this if you're a human. This is for bots." It's just like trying to bait bots to buy the eBay listing at $2,000 or something. I don't know, I
Yeah.
just thought it was funny. The
Yeah.
bots made me think of that.
That's been a thing for a long time. I've seen similar posts to that around graphics cards, like basically any in demand item over the last decade or so. I've seen that become a thing where people will do that trying to get bots to buy it. And then they'll also say like no refunds, no
Yep.
exchanges, anything like that. And I wonder how often that has succeeded or if anyone has actually made like $1,000 ever in their life sending out pictures of graphics cards or prismatic evolutions ETPs or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's kinda interesting, and they're literally just like it's almost like some vigilante type type deal because 'cause they're just trying to screw over scalpers, and they're
Yeah.
specifically like, "If you're trying to just get an ETB, your first Prismatic Evolutions ETB, don't buy from me, I'm not gonna give you an ETB." They're literally just trying to find people who are trying to hoard the
Yeah.
product as much as possible, so it is yeah, they're kinda like I mean, it's not really like vigilantes. It's almost kind of like a Robin Hood situation, maybe, but they're not really giving back to anyone. They're just kind of taking. I guess
Yeah,
if you take
they're
all the
taking
resources
for
from the
themselves.
scalpers,
Yeah.
if they take all the scalpers won't have any resources to scalp with, and then theoretically that does give the people the products, right? So maybe it is a Robin Hood in a roundabout way. It's kind of like a Robin Hood type situation.
I like it. I like it.
But yeah, it is nice that they responded. I feel like that's something I would like to see a little bit more of on the PTCG Live side of things because we do get like the posts from the devs, but it's like every 3 months or so, and it's like when an immediately big issue pops up, we don't always hear something, which is kind of annoying. But I mean, I guess it's a good thing for Pocket, and I'm not surprised that they are getting more immediate feedback
It's a way
or
bigger
input.
game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it is but it's not hard to just be like, "Oh, there's this problem. We're gonna fix the problem. Let's tell the people we're gonna fix the problem." It takes 5
True.
minutes, right? To, like, make a post, to leave a comment. They have the forums. I don't know how good of a form of communication that truly is in 2025. Maybe PDC does PDCG Live have a Twitter account? Do they have an X account?
No. Anytime there's TCG live related
To just
updates,
play Pokemon?
it's tweeted on the Pokemon TCG Twitter.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, they could just use that more often, I guess. Give one of the devs the login information or something. I don't know. But it'd be nice to see like more. I mean, maybe just there should be a PDCG Live X account. To be honest, maybe that's what there should be, so they can more aggressively give updates to situations happening on PDCG Live. But
Yeah, there should be many things different about many aspects of TCG Live, to be honest. But
yeah, but I'm gonna hopefully I don't know when it's gonna be. Maybe after UIC, try and get into Pocket a little bit more myself.
I will
Mm.
say I haven't played just on the topic of TCG Live. I don't play nearly as much as some people, but it's been a long time since I've experienced some game breaking bug in the game or anything like that. Like I
Yeah.
feel like something that's not been a big part of the game. I did have an issue recently, and I saw someone tweeting about this, which made me think of it. I had an issue recently where on my phone when I was playing a game. Let me actually see if I can find the picture. Uh, it was actually funny. I queued into a friend of yours and mine, Azul, and some people will probably know as well. He's a very good player from California, Kianamini, who he and I queued into each other. We were playing our game, and all of a sudden, I went to play a nest ball, and I could not see my deck, and it froze me on the screen. I don't know why my computer is not loading.
Take a
Um,
picture of it.
yeah, I've got a picture of it in here somewhere. Um, and it did it multiple times. I left it the first time. Yeah, here we go. I left it the first time and went back in and tried it the next time, and the same thing happened. I saw someone tweeting a picture of this exact. It was literally like I played. Yeah, as you see, I played Secret Box,
Yeah.
and then nothing. I saw someone tweet a picture of this, and they said it happened because they played Hisuian Heavy Ball and then immediately searched the deck before doing any other actions, and that's apparently what causes this on mobile only for some reason.
Is that what you did? You heavy balled and
I
then
don't remember for sure.
oh, so maybe you heavy balled.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Um, but that's like it. And it was just on mobile as well. So I've not experienced any game breaking bugs. I think that the game, honestly, TCG Live would be in a really solid place if there was just a public facing ranked ladder. Like the ELO system is good. I think everyone agrees it's been a positive change, and it's been kind of a fun game of people trying to figure out who's got the highest ELO. We should just be able to know who's got the highest ELO.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw a tweet from the lock not that long ago, and they had like a leaderboard for there's like this thing going on PDCG Live with like using the EV sleeves. Um and they have like a leaderboard for it, like what's in the lead of who's using
Oh
the EV
yeah.
sleeves. And it's like they have that information and are publicly presenting that information, but then are not going out of their way to uh show off um yeah, to show off a leaderboard like for the actual ladder, which is kind of annoying.
uh Seagrove made this on his website where people can like go in and submit their like a screenshot of their live ladder rank. So like people are doing this. You can see like a lot of people have submitted their data. Um and a lot of like, there's a lot of names on here that we recognize as well. But it just should be public facing, like people, this
Yeah.
is like a community based workaround. Um Like
And
A Pokemon trader is Joe Omnipoke. Magnitude 7 is Mike Fouché. Haru, is
Haru.
Haruki. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I recognize some other names on here as well, to be honest. And yeah, it would be just nice if this was, and it doesn't even have to be. Ideally, it would be in the client, but for
It could
whatever
be
reason, if that needs to take some time, it would probably be pretty easy for them to create a web page for it on Pokemon.com and just have the PTCG Live leaderboard visible there. But it eventually, it hopefully makes its way in game, and you can view it in on PTCG Live. But yeah, it makes no reason for us to not have that. And this is one of those things where they could just communicate to us well, the thing is, I guess if they don't, but the thing is, that's a problem with PDCG Live. It's like when something's going to happen, they don't always say anything. So we can't, them not saying anything doesn't mean we know for sure that it's not going to happen. So it'd be pretty nice if they're like, oh, yeah, we know. I'm sure they know everyone wants a leaderboard. I'm sure they know if they're going to try and work on a leaderboard eventually. Why, why don't they just say something? Why don't they be like, hey, we've heard your, since, giving you all the ELO system, we've heard a lot more want for some kind of public facing ladder. It is something we are actively trying to pursue and are trying to have it done by second quarter, third quarter of the year, whatever, right? Um, and we're trying to have it done in the next 3 months or something like that. Have it out. Instead, they just don't say anything. But them not saying anything doesn't mean they're not going to do it. It just means they're not saying anything, which they do all the time. So that's just kind of annoying. But it would be a nice upgrade for sure. It'd be a nice upgrade to have an actual ladder because we truly don't have a ranked ladder until there's like a leaderboard. You need a leaderboard to have a ladder. So
yeah.
yeah, the Seagrove thing doesn't quite work enough because I'm sure there's tons of people who. I mean, there's tons of people who aren't reporting. Right? It's nice for him to have done it. Of course, always
Yeah.
appreciate the community stepping up, and it feels like we do that a lot. In like a lack for like the lack of stuff that exists for the Pokemon TCG, the community is always stepping up to kind of fill the gaps, and not all of them should need to be filled by Pokemon. It definitely feels like some of them should be. And the leaderboard one is definitely one that should be, and it's kind of taking them forever to get around to it. They barely just got around to having an actual true like whatever the ELO system for the ranked ladder to begin with. So taking a long time.
Well, it has been a couple of weeks since Japan's version of Journey Together came out. What's their set called again? Battle Partners, right?
Yeah, they got battle partners.
So they have had battle partners now for a couple weeks. They've had rotation, We talked about some of the decks that were doing well last week or the week before, but now that they've had a little bit more time, let's take another look at what's performing well over in Japan. A little City League watch action. And Azul, I am still seeing quite a bit of Teal Mask Ogrepon EX and Raging Bolt.
Yeah, Radiant Bolt seems to be early on the most successful deck here in Japan. And there's a lot of Dragapult out there as well, so I'd say like those seem to be the top two. And then the thing that catches my eye is the Golden Go. To be honest, is the one thing that's sticking out besides those two. Um, and it's not like ridiculously successful, but Golden Go isn't a deck that's ever been very successful in the past. So the wins that it is getting out there definitely, definitely looking okay for Golden Go.
I think we would be remiss to not mention the deck that has popped up and been a big meme this past week. The Feraligatr Monkey Dory deck, winning a couple
Yeah.
of city leagues over there. This has also popped up in some online tournaments. This is a wild one. So, from what I understand, I have not played this deck. There's a few options here, right? For Alligator's ability, you can put 5 damage counters on it to make it so that its attacks do 120 more damage. So Giant Wave, 160 up to 280. That's pretty good. You've got Monkey Dory. You can move the damage counters off of the for Alligator. But you also have the option to, with Relicanth in play, with Memory Dive, use Reversed Thrust on this Croconaw, switch into like a Mimikyu, and still hit and run for 150 damage for 1 energy.
Yeah. So there's a couple different strategies you can implement here. You can do a little hit and running. You can just hide behind Mimikyu and move damage over with Monkey Dory. You could technically attack with the Mimikyu because there's a Luminous energy in there. While you're moving damage over with Monkey Dory, you put the Luminous Cape on the Mimikyu, so it's that much harder to deal with any of the Pokemon that your opponent has that can actually hit the Mimikyu. Yeah, it's a weird deck. And this is only started to pop up in Japan first, I feel like, after rotation happened. So that's one thing to take note of there. But we have been seeing people start try to make it work in online tournaments. This feels honestly though, I haven't played with the deck, so I don't know how good it is in our current format pre-rotation. But this kind of feels like the Archaludon situation from literally last format, where it's like Archaludon did really good at Champions League. Oh my gosh, Archaludon's good, and it's like, well, hold on, everybody, they're in a different format, but people just kind of ignored that and played a lot of Archaludon, and the deck was pretty mediocre last format, where it's a lot better this format. This might be like the same situation where people are excited for cool new decks, which is cool, but I don't know how good this thing actually is currently. We might have to wait for rotation before it really is actually makes sense.
Yeah, my inkling seeing like if we're just looking at this small grouping here, 3 wins, and this is all city leagues, so basically league cups, right? So you don't
Yeah.
put the most stock in this, but at the same time, 3 different wins. That's more than a fluke for sure.
Um.
It doesn't mean
What?
it's an amazing deck.
Yeah, it might not. I mean, it still might just be bad. It just might be the best meme deck. Like that's, I guess, yeah. It might just be the best, like, because it's kind of maybe it's just kind of like I'm trying to think of a good comparison as far as like decks go. But yeah, it's like not actually good, but like it winning a League Cup style or level of a tournament isn't a surprise.
So you mentioned the Golden Go. There's a couple different builds floating around here, but there's a couple that pair it with your favorite support Pokemon, the Dunsparce.
Hey, I don't hate the Dunsparce. It's just not good when stuff like B Barrel exists. But we are talking post rotation here, and
It's
it's got the
true.
cool new Dunsparce EX, which I have been hyping up. I like this guy a lot.
Yeah, adversarial tail, 60 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon EX in play. So all these Raging Bolt players going wide with a bunch of EXs and their Area Zero underdepths are just getting smacked by the Dunsparce EX for 1 energy for a 1 hit KO.
Yeah, and it's not extremely powerful or anything, but extremely powerful or anything. But being able to play a one of that like just is part of your draw engine evolution line is just always a really powerful inclusion.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
the Dunsparce with 60 HP, did it rotate?
No.
Okay, I mean they're probably playing the 70 HP because of Dragapult, but I was just curious. I didn't remember. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
this is a new one as well that we don't have yet.
just Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. The trading places.
So there's a 60 HP one with free retreat. There's a 70 HP one with find a friend, I think, right?
Me, I don't remember.
something like that. Um,
Did we already look at the build with the scissor, or did you click on the Dunsparce build first?
clicked on the Dunsparce build first.
People are always People in my chat are always trying to hype up scissor and golden go to me. I think it's always been terrible. Maybe it's good post rotation though. Could they the It could finally be worth the inclusion, but ooh, you actually get this new stadium too. I didn't even think about that. That's actually a cool inclusion.
Yep,
That's
you
pretty good.
can grab a couple lightning energy from your discard pile, put them back in your hand. There's no lightning attackers in this deck, but it's just consistent energy recovery. That's one stadium card that basically makes your golden go do 100 more damage.
Yeah, not as good as Pokestop probably, but better than nothing. Actually, that's not always true. It might not be better than nothing. It's probably fine though, right? Probably decent.
I feel like it seems pretty good. Yeah, seems pretty
Yeah.
solid. And there's a couple owners decks here that we can now see that have popped up. So we've got where did it just go? Yeah, Archaladon, Zacian, Hop Zacian. This was one I think we looked at one of these lists last week, but you've got the
Yeah.
Zacian, you've got the Snorlax here to boost the damage, you've got the Cramorant in here for the energy efficient attack.
What, 3 to 4 prizes, right?
Yeah, in the mid game,
Yeah. It
pretty
just seems like
straightforward looking list.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, I will see, it'll be interesting. It feels like it's like the best of, both worlds. Like, it's good for Zacian because it gives you the energy acceleration of Archaladon, and also for Archaladon, it feels nice to have something that can one-hit KO something finally, right?
Yeah,
Besides Dialga, of course. A
and
little
this
bit
is
more
of course
efficient way to do it.
in taking the place of the Alga since rotation, right?
Yeah, you don't have Dialga anymore, so yeah.
And then there was also an ends deck.
Yeah, nothing too dude, this deck is actually just kind of a disappointment. Well, I think there will be more ends Pokemon. I don't think they're gonna do Zoroark like that because this does not feel very powerful. Just having Reshiram and Darmanitan as options. Although honestly, the Darmanitan is pretty good, right? What does it do? 90 and then 90 damage to a bench Pokemon, discard all energy. And
Yep.
with ends PP up, it's not that hard to chain that. Manaphy's rotated. Actually, we know Manaphy's gone. Like there's no they didn't do a reprint. 'Cause that's what it was like last time, I believe. We went from Mew Japan went from Mew to Manaphy immediately. We had to wait like 3 months or something to get our bench barrier back. Um, and honestly, did Japan go from Mr. Mime to Mew as well immediately? They maybe did all the way back. They maybe have not had bench barrier or have had bench barrier for like 10 years. Like they maybe had bench barrier for a long time. I can't think back that long. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the time frame is there.
But I
I
think
saw
we're
someone tweet.
basically
I saw someone tweet. There is bench barrier post rotation. Did you see this?
what, Rabska? Or is there something else? Oh yeah,
There
the
is Rebska.
Thunderous. The
Yeah.
Thunderous. So bad. Your
Do you
opponent just
remember when
laughs at you and bosses around it.
this came up in one of our evolution series videos? Remember?
Was it relevant?
Yeah, you played Palafin, your Palafin spread deck. You were trying
Oh,
to
yeah, and you
you tried
pushed
to
up.
spread, and you were like, I was like, oh, you don't get to spread.
Yeah. Very cool card. Honestly, this card has actually been almost good in Maridon a couple times. The
Yeah,
140 for 2 lightning is actually pretty efficient, but it's never been, like, better than other options. Also, it's, like, obviously can instantly get return KO'd as well, so but actually it has been, like, an almost good card a couple times. See,
yeah.
honestly, I get the Ends deck right now. I think we will get more Ends Pokemon. That's what I've been saying, but, I mean, playing heavily around the Darmanitan is, like, still okay, I guess. Like, it's decent, especially because like, Zora copies it for 2 dark energy, which means you're just an attach plus ends, PP up away from back-to-back Darmanitans. Like, you can kind of I don't know, it can be pretty devastating, right? Pretty big, back-to-back turns of just, like, completely eliminating your opponent's setup Pokemon, stuff like that.
It's also got Power Glass in here as well. So you discard all energy, get reattached. You've got
Yeah.
280 HP, so you're probably not getting KO'd right away.
You got the stadium. Like, these things got heavy retreat costs as well, 2 on the Reshiram, 3 on the Darmanitan, so you got some mobility. Yeah, so if you don't have the Power Glass and you need to get from Zoroark to Zoroark, to combo with the, energy acceleration, you got that going for you. Oh, there's 2 reversals in here as well, I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
You
attack with
actually
the
can
Darmanitan.
Yeah, you can actually attack with the Darmanitan, which is kinda cool. I don't know, this deck I don't know, maybe there's a little bit more here. I feel like we're gonna definitely get some more ends cards, but, um, there might be a little bit more there than I was initially giving it credit for, to be honest.
Now, is there more here?
Nope. But maybe one
Festival lead.
is it one of the best decks to play Rabska in?
What's this
Honestly,
thing?
probably not. That's the thing that shuffles your prize cards, right? Or
Oh, yeah, yeah,
swaps out
yeah,
your
yeah.
prize cards. This deck doesn't even play TM Evo, so this isn't even the best deck to play Rabska in, to be honest. Rabska's just kind of there. Like the Rattler's just there to get bonked.
Wait, isn't there basics with Festival lead so you could TM Evo twice? Like, Goldeen? Does that work?
Oh, does that work?
Let me read the Goldeen.
Also, read TM Evo.
Yeah.
Oh, does it not work for tools? Tools don't work. Tools don't work
If
on it.
Festival Grounds is in play, this Pokemon might use an attack it has. Okay, so it doesn't
Yeah,
have evolution. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a
Oh, that
bummer.
would have been cool. That would have been a cool interaction.
Yeah. It can use this attack, but it doesn't have this attack.
Yeah,
Bummer.
it would stick around as well. It discards at the end of your turn,
Right.
not after you use an attack. That's unfortunate. That'd been a cool interaction. And honestly,
Um
I don't think that puts Festival Lead over the top or anything. It's like, oh, it's broken now. The game designers had the perfect balance of keeping Festival Lead in check as a meme deck and not letting it become the broken tier one BDIF that we all want it to be.
And then of course we gotta have good old Seek Inspiration Slow King in here winning a City League.
You got the new good option in the Regigigas for this one. That's like the big inclusion there for sure. It is a Zatu build as well.
It plays the Max Rod.
Honestly,
That's kind of
that's pretty
cool.
good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good in here. Hold up, hold up.
Academy at night, put the card on top, and then Slow King discards it.
Yeah, this list has two Drayton, so I'm not like a big fan of that. But besides the Draytons in here, I like everything else that's going on for sure.
You just gotta find Pokemon. Is that the most efficient way to do that?
Getting Night Stretcher is also decent. Is there really
True.
nothing better?
I mean, yeah, it's
Honestly, this
probably
wants like a Bill's transfer, right? Look at top eight, take all Pokemon or something. Is that what Bill's transfer did?
yeah. No, no. There, it's still in the format of the card you're thinking of.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, Bill's transfer was two
It's
trainer
two
cards.
trainer cards. Yeah, you're thinking of no, you are thinking of Bill's transfer. You were thinking of Bill's analysis.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Okay.
Bill's transfer. Look at the top eight cards. Reveal any number of Pokemon you find there and put them in your hand.
But I guess maybe getting one trainer card might be a little
I
bit
think
better.
the flexibility that Drayton offers is probably worth it. I feel like Drayton could be okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's terrible. It's just like bad compared to what we have. You read something like Arvin, and you're like, all right, well, this probably isn't that good. But we are losing four Sealstone. That was a big part of Arvin's power. So Arvin's becoming less powerful.
And you've got the Tatsugiri Latias engine. Let's get it.
I don't really like putting Latias in play in this deck feels kind of mid. Get some Russian
Putting
boards in there or something.
well, you're probably gonna have. I think you're assuming you're gonna have Squawk and Fez in play already anyway, right?
Every game?
Probably most of them, dude. You gotta this deck. There's no draw engine. I mean, Zatu
There's
is
no
like
there's no bench
okay.
space at that point. We have no bench space anymore.
Well, you need one Zatu. You need a Slow King in the active, a Slow Poke on the
On the
bench.
bench.
You
That's
got Tatsu,
three.
Latias, Fez.
Okay, so we won't be using Squawk and Fez every game. One
Probably
of
not.
them
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I tried to make this deck. I came up with an initial build. I had Lipard in here for just like more draw support and tried to avoid ever having any two prizers in play. But there might be some more validity to it moving forward. One of the problems is stuff like Radiant Greninja, which will be gone. Yeah. Rotation is always nice because it's like usually the bigger shakeup. Even if some decks we played before become potentially the best decks, we're looking at a lot. We see a lot of Dragapult and Raging Bolt here, but the way they play, I mean, at least Dragapult's probably the exact same deck, but Raging Bolt's a lot different. Um, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think Dragapult like doesn't change at all.
Yeah. Dragapult Charizard, a little bit of a thing. It looks like
Yeah,
a couple of those floating around. Oh, this has got the Clefable or the Clefairy in it. That's actually kind of cool for the mirror tech. Did we
yeah,
look at
got it.
wait, we looked at one last week that had this too, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
That's
Wait,
right.
but wait, doesn't it take? Can you go back to that? Does it take? You have to set it up over two turns. There's no Crispin in here either. You have to attach that thing twice.
Bro, you can Charizard to it.
Oh yeah, true. I was like so confused for a second. I was like, how are we getting this thing set up? There's Pidgeot in here as well, bro. With the whole squad, three stage twos. It's back.
Gang gang. There they are. But yeah, so there's a couple decks. Still early on. I think we're both kind of excited to see what happens once we get an opportunity to have rotation, but there's still a lot of Pokemon left to be played. We've got the current format, we've got Merida coming up, and we're going to talk about that here very soon. But
Yeah, we'll
before we
probably
do,
I was gonna say we'll probably talk about this next week as well, but there's a Champions League next weekend, not this weekend coming up, and that'll be with rotation
yeah,
with the new cards, so that'll be exciting to watch.
yeah. So we'll see how what has happened in City Leagues translates to that that Champions League tournament. But yeah, before we talk about Merida, we've got guess that flavor text, and before we do guess that flavor text, we've of course got to take a moment to thank our fantastic sponsor, Dragon Shield, for supporting us here on the Uncommon Energy podcast. Dragon Shield makes some of the best card gaming and tabletop gaming products on the market. We love them and use them for their sleeves. Azul was rocking just some good old classic black matte dragon shields this weekend for his challenge and cup. How'd they feel, Azul?
Yeah, got the job done as always, always reliable, and gonna be breaking out the yellows this week, and I think that's what I'm gonna be bringing with me. Don't have them up on the shelf behind me yet, but I got a lot of stuff I got to put up on the shelf. I actually my shelf was more full last week, but I took a bunch of stuff off because I had to put the rug down this week. So,
What was the one thing you were supposed to remember to bring when you came to my house in
hey,
North
all right,
Carolina last week?
it was some extra sleeves, but I did message you before I left my house, and I was like, "Hey, Chip, do I need anything besides clothes?" And you're like, "Nope, that's it. I think all you need is clothes." As well. So I was like, "Okay, Chip, sounds
It's
good."
just my responsibility to remind you
No,
of
I think
every little thing.
50-50.
I didn't
Like
tell you to
it's
bring
a
toothpaste. Did you remember to bring toothpaste?
But n I dude, this is like a that's different. If I forget my own toothpaste, like, that's something else, but the sleeves is kind of like a communal I asked you, I was like, "Hey, Chip, do I need to bring anything besides clothes?" You're like, "No, I think that's it. You don't need to bring any products or anything for the content." I was like, "Alright, sounds good." Um, I'll give you 50% of the blame on this
Wow.
one. We'll split it 50-50.
How kind of
It's fair.
you.
I won't be forgetting my sleeves this weekend though for Merida. Make sure I have my yellow Dragon Shield. Shout out to Dragon Shield as always for sponsoring the pod. Link, of course, will be in the description. And you can use code UEPOD, UEPOD to get yourself 5% off and directly support us here on the podcast.
And now it is time for Guess That Flavor Text, where each week either Azul or I picks a card, reads the flavor text from it, and has the other host try to guess which Pokemon is featured on that card. I was just looking at the spreadsheet and I was like, wait, do we have the wrong person? But no, it is your turn to pick a card and it is my turn to guess. It has been a long time since I have gotten one right. And people were giving me some flack for it in San Antonio. I walked by a group of people, they're like, Chip. And I was like, Wade, said, what's up? I was like on my way to go walk and do something. And they were like, when are you going to get something right on Guess That Flavor Text again? I was like, jeez, bro, I'm just catching maximum shade. So I've got to improve here.
And the
Let's see if
clutch
I can
up.
get some points.
All right, Chip. Let's see if we can get some points this week. This week's flavor text is it observes prey while hanging inverted from branches. When the chance presents itself, it swoops.
Okay. Um, It obviously feels like it's gotta be like a bat of some sort. Woo bat, swoo bat, instant thought. It also could be like a monkey Pokemon of some sort hanging from a tree branch on its tail, but those aren't really types of creatures that swoop down. Yes, swoop is a big word here. And hanging from branches is a big word here as well, as opposed to sitting on a branch. So I'm pretty sure it's got to be Woobat or Swoobat. And I don't really think Woobat is much of a hunter. So I would lean towards Swoobat. Let me at least use what stage the card is as a lifeline here. So, yeah, what stage is the card?
It is a stage 1.
All right. I guess I'm just gonna lock in the Swoobat. I could use a couple lifelines. Let me just hear the flavor text one more time before I lock it in.
It observes prey while hanging inverted from branches. When the chance presents itself, it swoops.
So I guess one thing is I don't know if Swoobat is hanging from branches. I feel like it's like more of a cave Pokemon. So that's one thing that's hanging me up here. Okay, let me Let me use a little bit more here. Let's see what set the card is from.
It is from Unbroken Bonds.
I'm pretty sure there's a Swoobat in Unbroken Bonds. Yeah, I'm just gonna lock it in. Let's go, Swoobat.
It is not Swoobat
Gosh.
chip. All right, hold on. We've got one final uh lifeline to use here for anyone who's listening. The attack name is Collect.
That still feels very Swoobat to me.
Okay. So that would have been the final lifeline. So let's go with the other attack that this Pokemon has, and let's see if that would help you, Chip, or anyone else to get 0 points. Poison Jab.
There's not a Swoobat in Unbroken Bonds. Oh, is it
Is it?
Poison Jab? Is it Toxicroak?
No, it is Gliscor, which it's kind of like it's a bat, right? It's a bat type,
Yeah.
kind of bat-ish Pokemon.
Yeah, I probably should have gotten that one. Dude, and look at the artwork too. What is he doing?
Hanging from a branch, upside down.
Uh,
You think you would have got there though? Like you go
no.
through? No, probably
I
not.
just yeah, I just locked in a little too hard, a little too quick on Woobat Swoobat. The
Need to cook a
thing
little more.
the thing I was thinking of was like in X and Y, and this is something totally like you will not be able to relate to. But in X and Y, when you walk through like the glittering cave, I think is what it's called. There are little dark spots that if you walk into them, a bat will swoop down and battle you, and it is a Woobat. I'm pretty sure usually. Let's see,
During
glittering cave
cave. Let's see.
encounters. Uh, there are 9 predetermined spots with the section of the cave that contain dark shadows, and upon running into one, a wild Pokemon will leap out of the shadow and attack.
There you go.
It
But yeah,
doesn't
most bats are in caves, right?
descends from the ceiling, Woobat, or Pharaoh Seed.
Yeah.
But this is what I was thinking of and what led to me locking in that pretty quick.
But
But
yeah,
I
I think
did
that's
I
a
did
pretty good guess.
pause thinking of the like the branches aspect, right? Because this happens in a cave. Obviously, the flavor text mentions a branch. The
Yep.
picture of the card has a branch in it. Yeah, I just kind of got bodied there. Unfortunate.
Right, Chip. You always have 2 weeks from now. But gotta worry about this week. We got Merida coming up this weekend. Honestly, the one thing to think about, it didn't even feel like Japan played this format very long, right? The
Yeah.
Prismatic Evolutions format. They only have one major tournament in each format. Um, yeah, maybe they played it about as long as they usually do. Yeah, they only have 5 majors a year, and it usually lines up with each set release they have. So I guess that's like there's not much more to get out of it, to be honest. Um, from Japan. But yeah, it's coming up this weekend, and we're getting basically Badoo, no rotation. But yeah, basically Badoo's in the format, and then Regigigas for Lugia, and that's about it.
You know, it's been almost 9 months since you've made top cut at a tournament.
No, that's not something I kept track of.
I just
I
looked it
did
up.
not know. You just looked it up. Is that it? That's
Hmm,
it, Chip?
9 months, bro. But he's washed.
Sure. Everyone cares way more about that than I do, though.
I know,
So
I know. Well, how are you feeling heading into I mean you competed in Sacramento, which was not that long ago, but yeah, I mean, you obviously haven't been competing as much as you have in years past. How are you feeling getting ready to are you feeling like prepared for the tournament or you feel like before you play you've got more prep to do?
I mean, I don't feel like very prepared at all, especially like for what I wanted to try and do moving forward. Like just kind of, and I'll probably be able to like implement this a little bit better for EUIC. Just like pick a deck 5 days to a week before the tournament, and then just grind that deck on stream for like a week. Not gonna really be able to do that for Merida because it's in 2 days or in 3 days, so I only have 2 days of streaming a deck. I have to pick what deck I'm gonna play. I'm in between, like, Maridon and Gardevoir at this point. Um, so just gotta pick a deck, grind it for a couple days, bring it to Merida, see how it goes, but definitely not gonna put too much, uh on this initial take of that process for me of just like picking a deck and grinding it because it's only 2 days and I want to be able to put more time into that. So UIC was going to be like a bigger test for that. But I mean, I don't feel like pressured or anything like that. If that's what you mean, like I'm going into, it, I'm like, well, this is the reality. The reality is I have 2 days to pick a deck and play a deck. So just gonna do with that what I can, and then not gonna put too much on the outcome of Merida overall. A little bit more, put more on the outcomes of like future tournaments that I go to this
Sure.
season.
So this is the first
Definitely
major
under.
tournament in the West with this current standard format. First major tournament with Badoo. Um, I guess first off, based on what we've seen in online tournaments and based on what we've seen from this format in Japan,
Yeah.
what do you expect out of Reggie Drago this weekend? It's been considered the best deck in the past format. Towards the end of last format, it really wasn't quite as popular and it didn't perform quite as
Well,
well at the very final tournament.
it was pretty
Oh,
popular, right? It was
sure.
18%, but yeah, it wasn't as successful for sure.
Was not as successful. It's definitely a wide the I don't know. The meta felt a bit wider. I don't know if that really had much of an
Yeah.
impact on it or not, but I don't know. Do you feel like where do you feel like it sits? Is Reggie Drago gone or does it
The
have to
question
adjust massively for the tournament?
the question is just like how it handles Badoo in Dragapult and Gardevoir. Like if those are just bad matchups for Reggie Drago now, then I think the deck is just bad right now. There's a bad play. Not a bad deck. The deck will never be a bad deck. Um, I feel like I should probably like try and use my terminology better there. Like I should be saying more. It'll be a bad play this format instead of a bad deck because there's like definitely two different things. That's something I've been trying to clarify a little bit more with when I talk about decks so people can understand my like process. And just to go out of my way to hate on the deck a little bit more right now. Like Ancient Box is a bad deck. There's no it'll for it to be a good play at a tournament ever, it'd be like a miracle. So Ancient Box is a bad deck, not just a bad play. Reggie Drago is a good deck. Even Chi and Pow, I would say, is a good deck. It's just been a bad play for a while now, right? So I think Drago, um, yeah, if it can't, though, that'd be the questions I have. But I've played so little of this format. I just wouldn't be surprised if Drago is just the next Charizard or Gardevoir, where it's like, ooh, the deck's dead. It doesn't. A new set came out. It's got another bad matchup, and then it's like, oh wait, no, the deck's just fine. It's still a tier one, tier two deck, like Gardevoir has been for so long now. So
Yeah, there's a couple
unsure
different
there.
interesting techs that we could see in Drago to I think help handle Badoo a little bit. Um, and we've seen some of this on in Japan. We've seen some of it in Drago lists online. Crispin has popped up as a tech, a way that you can re-accelerate to a Drago while you're getting
Yeah,
item locked. Also, I've seen the Poppy pop up here and there, which is a supporter card that lets you move up to 2 energy from one of your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon.
yeah. Those are both like interesting. I feel like actually the one big change that we've seen pretty consistently, I want to say, from lists across the board is like everyone's playing Latias EX. To have a constant way to be able to move your Drago Vs around if you're getting Badooed. So I feel like that's one thing we've seen pretty much everyone include is Latias EX has been a change to Drago. And I don't think anyone really wants to because Drago never feels like it has the bench space for something like Latias. But yeah, something like the Crispin, the Poppy, even something like Elekid theoretically could be good, but getting Elekid consistently in the active means you might need something like Latias, and you don't really have bench space for something like like if you go out of your way to put down Elekid and Latias on your bench, even if you KO their Badoo turn 2 right after they use it, or the turn right after they use it, you probably just lose because you don't have bench space for any good Pokemon. You're sitting there and crackling shotting every turn and just losing the game as they gust around it. So um, yeah, yeah, this is definitely one of those situations where I haven't played enough. Drago could be chalked. The big two matchups, like I mentioned, are Dragapult and Gardevoir because those are the two decks I think get the most out of Badoo for sure. They're the ones that are taking the biggest advantage of Badoo. So at that point, it just comes down to what does that matchup look like for Drago now? Um, and if those are both just bad matchups, even when you go the route of including Crispins or Poppies or anything like that, then yeah, it's probably time to just hang up Drago for now, and then it doesn't really get to exist in this last format before rotation hits. Doesn't get to go out with a bang.
What about Badoo? So, I mean, would you say? Do you think it's fair to say that Badoo has had a pretty sizable effect on the format?
Yeah, I think decently. I think it just made the format more narrow because when you have like two of the top decks, Gardevoir, Dragapult, being able to abuse Badoo so aggressively, it like takes away decks like Golden Go and Raging Bolt. Like I don't think those decks are playable anymore. Basically, they don't have the depth of strategy to be able to handle something like Badoo the way Reggie Drago potentially could. So I think we're just getting to a more narrow format, more narrow meta because the I mean, Dragon Ball's always been a really powerful deck, and so it's just been kind of slow, and that's why it's not been a good play. And Gardevoir, I mean, has always been a good deck for so long now. But now, like these decks that have a lot of depth in terms of strategy, and like I guess Dragon Ball doesn't have that much depth in terms of strategy, but it's just such a powerful attacker, probably the most powerful attack in the game right now. That when you get something to help you stabilize as efficiently as Badoo, and you don't have to run like four Iron Thorns to stabilize, then the deck becomes that much better, right? So we're just seeing like two decks really powerful or have a lot of depth and options, like something like a Gardevoir, getting a new tool that is a very powerful tool that can severely limit a bunch of different decks. We're just seeing like the meta get a lot more narrow, and it is because of Badoo, and it is kind of like I talked about last week or the week before. It really is the Trash Lanch effect on a lower scale, and I think in like a good way, like a healthy way. It doesn't seem to be like overly toxic. People just need to adjust and like remember that. Oh wait, I can get Badoo next turn, which is definitely something that I forgot a lot. My first couple games, my first time streaming the format, I just forgot that I could get
Yeah.
Badoo next turn. Got to play your items, stuff like that.
So right now, based on online events and kind of the strength you perceive of certain decks, what do you think? Let's do like what are the top three decks right now in the format? Not even necessarily just for like as plays for Merida, but just the
Yeah,
format in general. What are the big three decks?
probably Dragapult, Guard and Lugia, and then I think um our Chaladon and Miraidon are like the next two up. Actually, honestly, like our Chaladon seems like it's kind of dropped off, fallen off quite a bit. A lot of that probably has to do with Gardevoir's popularity and success, because that's definitely a favorable matchup for Gardevoir. So even if you are favored into Dragapult, if like both those decks are like 15% of the meta or 12% of the meta, whatever, Dragapult and Gardevoir, taking a bad matchup to 12% of the meta doesn't seem great. So you don't want to be doing that probably. And then yeah, I feel like Lugia's got to be number 3 there behind them, if not even with them. And then yeah, I think Archalon and Marina are the next two up you would look at to be like, okay, what are the next two consistently most powerful decks? And then yeah, after that, honestly, I don't even really know because I'm not a huge fan of like Charizard. If we assume Regidrago's unfavored to Gardevoir and Dragapult because of the Badoo, then Drago's a bad deck to play right now. And your Lugia matchup theoretically might even get worse because now you're checking for other matchups that aren't Lugia. So, like, are you even going to play something like Temple of Sinnoh anymore? I don't even know. Do you have room for that if you have to deal with Badoo? And then, yeah, honestly, there's nothing besides those. There's nothing too much. I mean, I like the idea of like Lost Box. Would be the only other one that I like the idea of. And maybe there's some Terrapagos Dusknoir is always a deck that I'm always super under tested with. So there could be room for some kind of Terrapagos deck as well. Maybe even the Palkia deck.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely some potential with Terrapagos that that I could see that being like a sleeper pick for like an early format tournament. You know, no one's really talking about it, but it's obviously still very powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think I
There's
agree
something in
with you on
there.
those three being kind of the big decks right now. I think like it's obvious Dragapult is probably number one right now,
Yeah.
and then Gardevoir, yeah, it's like kind of caught wind. I mean, it caught a lot of wind at the end of last format as well, right? It
Yeah.
like picked up a lot more popularity, had good placements. Obviously, Henry Chow won the last regionals of the format with the deck. So, yeah, I think it wouldn't be a surprise to see Gardevoir continue to be to move into a higher meta share spot than we've seen it in quite some time, to be honest. Because let's be real as well, another thing, it's kind of a last ride for Gardevoir as well for some people. You know, it's been a popular deck, but doesn't look like we've seen too much Gardevoir post rotation. Not having
It,
a refinement Curlia is a pretty bad thing.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it doesn't make a comeback eventually, maybe a couple sets from now, though, right? Like, it's such a
Yeah.
powerful card. You still have Drifloon, you still have Screamtail, you still have so many of the good attackers, if not all of them. So I think we're just waiting for, like, probably a better draw engine to come around. The one thing I'll say with Gardevoir as well is, like, I don't think we'll see Gardevoir get super, super popular. It'll be very popular amongst top players, but we're actually kind of, I feel like, lacking a a more noob friendly deck right now, and because like Gardevoir's not going to be that deck. Dragapult's like kinda, but not as much. I feel like Archaludon is probably going to be that deck, and I think Archaludon will probably be, or maybe even like a Ceruledge, which has also been decently popular in online tournaments. A deck like that is a little bit more new player friendly. Something like a Raging Bolt always seems to be pretty popular. We don't have a Raging Bolt anymore, so I feel like maybe one of those decks will just be like, maybe a little inflated in popularity because of that, like, the Archaludons and Ceruledges might be a little inflated because of that. Or
Yeah.
maybe even, like, Maridon if that one, ends up being pretty powerful in the format.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Um,
let's do some predictions for the tournament this weekend. How many Badoo do you think there will be in Top Cut?
I mean, hang on, how many players are expected? Let me do a quick.
About 1,000. It's probably going to be a 9-person cut, and so the format will
Yeah, it's
likely
always,
be 8 people or 8 rounds day one, 9 round, 8. I'm
8-3,
tired,
yeah,
man.
8-3,
Eight
8-3.
8 rounds day one, 3 rounds day two.
Yeah, it looks like 9.3 players, so between 9 and 10 player cut, maybe could get to up to 11. Um, call it 9. I
So,
think I mean Guardy's probably gonna do pretty well. Dragapult's probably gonna do pretty well. A lot of Dragapult decks I think have 2 Badoos in it as well. They be Badooing, you know what I'm saying? And also I guess that's like a big thing. Guardy can do it as well. Also, that's maybe another a big thing with those decks and Badoo is they can actually take advantage of the damage Badoo does, right? Radiant Alakazam, Guardy has a bunch of different like spread options as well, right? Um, so let's go with 5 Badoos in cut. I think that's like not too crazy.
it's a bit. It's not too crazy. And I'm going to come in just under you here. I'm going to go with the 4 Badoo in cut.
It's cringe. Yeah, 1.69 Badoos in this Tournament of Doom, the most recent Tournament of Doom in Dragapult decks. So most people are
Hmm.
playing, more people are playing 2 than 1.
Most popular A spec in Gardevoir. And there's a few different ones that people are playing right now. We've got Secret Box builds, we've got Unfair Stamp. What do you think the most popular A spec choice is going to be?
Maybe we should change this to maybe highest placing or most successful ace spec in Gardevoir, like the highest placing
Sure, we can do that.
Gardevoir ace spec. Like, what do you think the furthest Gardevoir player will ace spec will they play? Um, Honestly, this one's tough because I don't know if Henry Chow's going to the tournament. If Henry's going, I don't think he is. Would be
I
my
don't think
guess.
he is.
I would probably guess Secret Box. With the lack of Henry, honestly, I feel like the most successful Guard is when Henry's not there. When well, actually, when it's just not an American tournament, it's usually Trolley. Trolley was the most successful over in Japan. It also showed up in Europe. So I'm gonna go with Trolley. I'm gonna say Trolley is gonna be in the highest placing Guard deck. Yeah, because
Let's
most popular is
see.
probably always gonna be Unfair Stamp, right? I kind of thought about that a little bit more. I was like, isn't it always gonna be Unfair Stamp? I think it's always gonna be Unfair Stamp.
Yeah, so the top 16 build from the Champions League was a trolley build, and we don't have any other data from that format. It was
I
unfair
was kind of just talking in
stamps.
general,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, sure.
Birmingham. The highest placing Birmingham one was Trolley.
I'm gonna go with stamp here. Stamp is still just really powerful. It might not be the best actual choice, but like I think it is going to be the default most popular choice, I would say.
It's probably,
And
yeah,
by
most likely.
proxy, probably a decent shot that it'll be highest placing as well.
That's a pretty safe guess there, Chip.
And then final prediction. We've done this one before. We're gonna go over under Azul's final tournament placements. We're going to go over or under or set the line at 16 and a half. So higher finish than 16 or lower finish than 16. You want to go first for this one? What are you
Yeah.
how with your
Thing is,
confidence level, what are you
I could
thinking?
always just say under then sabotage for the for the for the
Yeah.
podcast
y-
prediction dub.
You do that, buddy.
No, I'm definitely gonna go with the over. I think I'm pretty confident that I could end up with hopefully a top 8. If I'm placing higher than 16.5, hopefully it's a top 8, not just winning into top 16, which it probably would be.
I'm gonna go with the over as well. I'll be rooting for you, buddy. And I think with a couple days of grinding a deck, there'll be more practice than you've had for a deck that you've played to a tournament in quite some time. So I'm gonna say you can do it.
All right, I'll try my best, Chip, for you for your prediction.
Yay.
All right. Well, I know it's getting late over there for you, Chip, and we still got the bonus episode to get to. So why don't you go ahead and send us out here on the main uh, episode this week?
Yeah, appreciate everyone for your support as always. Thanks so much for listening. And if you enjoyed, be sure to leave us a like, a review, a rating, and subscribe. All those things help us out a ton and help more people to discover the podcast. If you want to stay up to date with myself and Azul, the best place to do it is over on X. You can follow myself at Chip Ritchie Azul at Azul_GG. And you can follow you can follow the podcast at Uncommon_Energy.
Yeah, appreciate the support as always, and we'll catch y'all next Wednesday, 7 a.m. Eastern.